I got a confession to make. I love cereal, but it's not a performance-enhancing food until now. Look around. I am in a hotel. I am on the road, and I packed this. I packed Magic Spoon with me. They got 2 new flavors, peanut butter and my favorite, which is cinnamon. You can go to magicspoon.com right now, build your own variety pack. I suggest that you include the cinnamon, the peanut butter, and the frosted, but you got a few ways to do it and mix and match this. Look, this is gluten-free, grain-free, GMO-free, low-carb, and delicious. Magic Spoon is so confident in their product. It is backed with a 100% happiness guarantee. You don't like it? No questions asked, they give you your money back. Click in the link below, use the promo code Chael for free shipping. Oh, don't forget, build your own variety box. I'm eating cinnamon today. They got a new peanut butter, and I suggest the frosted. Mike Perry came out, and Mike Perry's going to be fighting at UFC 255, which I believe is 9 days from right now without having a calendar in front of me, right? I'm in quarantine. I have the foggiest idea what day it is, and you guys can relate with that. How many times in this quarantine have you had to ask somebody what day it is, or you've had to look at the calendar on your phone? That used to be such a weird thing that was so annoying to me as a kid. Did you ever ask your parents when you were a kid, just by example, hey, Dad, how old are you? And he said, well, hold on a second. He has to think about it, think of the year he was born and what year, and do the math. And you're like, what are you doing? This is an act. You're performing for me. Everybody knows how old they are. Because you remember when you were a little kid, you were never 9 years old. You were 9.5 years old. But it does change at a certain point where all of a sudden you realize, whoa, Dad wasn't joking around. Once those years go by, you kind of forget. You kind of forget how long it's been. So at any rate, I only bring that to you because I don't know when he's fighting him, but I know it's 9 or 10 days. Mike Perry came out though, and he said, I'm 25 pounds overweight. I don't know how I'm going to do this. I'm going to do this. I don't know how. This is going to suck. I'll make the weight. A few things there. First off, if it was Paul Felder saying it, I'm listening because he accepted the fight yesterday and has to weigh in 4. Mike Perry has been on this card for 3 months now versus Robbie Lawler. So the whole thing was a little bit weird. And whenever a guy is big like that, you have to ask yourself, why? That's the very first thing you have to know. Why do you weigh this much? Have you been lifting? Have you been eating extra protein? Have you been going through the fast food line? Or have you not been training? It's calories in, calories out. If you're always 25 pounds over, and this is what you've been in your last 5 fights, I don't think you'd make the statement. We'd have nothing to talk about. The fact that you made the statement means you're not usually this heavy. Fans would probably like to know why before they go put a bet on it. And I got to tell you, all weight is not created the same. One of the hardest weight cuts I had, I'll personalize this, but I came from the wrestling world, right? So every Saturday I've had to weigh in since I was 9 years old. Now, I did not start to diet or lose weight or think about what I was going to weigh in at until I was a freshman in high school. Never before that did I ever look at a scale. You went, you stepped on the scale, you got off the scale, they put you in a bracket, you went to breakfast, you came back 2 hours later. But once you get to high school, that changes a little bit. And I remember I had to lose 3 pounds. Oh my God, I didn't know how I was going to do it. How am I going to lose 3 pounds? And my freshman year, I wrestled at 115. That was the weight class, 115 pounds. Relevant to the fact that I would work out for 2 hours and I would lose 1.5 pounds. My body was just different then. By my senior year, when I was at 185, I could do that exact same 2-hour workout and lose 6 pounds. So 3 pounds, that means I'm going to have to work out for 4 hours just by that example. That's nonstop. It's a hard thing to do, right? It's a hard thing to do, and when you've never done it. Well, as I got a little bit older, that was different. You know, if I could be 7 pounds over and know, all right, that's going to take me 60 minutes to lose. I'm 12 pounds over, I need 90 minutes. It started to get down to a little bit more of a science. But it also determined on what you were doing to prep for the weight cut by example. When I started working with Mike Dolce, I could pull weight that would shock you. The day before I fought Anderson Silva, 22 hours before the fight, I was 17 pounds over. Oh, and by the way, I should mention for you, I'd already lost a bunch of weight. I'd already lost a lot of weight. I still had 17 to go in 22 hours. But it was different. Dolce had a lot of what I consider tricks. Now that I know Dolce and I've read his books and been around, it's science. But he brought this over from the bodybuilding world. And even us wrestlers who were masters of cutting weight did not know what those bodybuilders knew. One of the tricks, just by example, was what's called a water load, where every day, let's say you're 1 month, you'll start your water load 1 month before the weigh-in. And you'll start with a gallon a day, gallon of water. And that probably sounds easy to you. You go, so what? You saturate, sitting on your butt drinking water. Yeah, I hear what you're thinking. I thought that too. To drink a gallon a day, it's a time issue. More than anything, it's a time issue, right? You can only drink so much. Oh my God, you got to stop, right? So you got to start in the morning. You got to have that gallon on your nightstand. First thing you do is try to get down a pound, 16 ounces. A gallon is 8 pounds of water. So then you've got to go throughout the entire day. And sometimes you'll get in bed at night and you got to stay up because you haven't finished that gallon. Now your body will start to adjust. You'll start sweating like you wouldn't believe, right? You could sweat more in a 15-minute warm-up doing the water load than you did in the entire 2-hour practice without the water load. So you start to see some of these benefits, and the science behind it is pretty simple. As the water flows through your body, because the water has no molecules and no nutrients hooked to it, it will grab other water molecules that do have something hooked to it and pass it through. Drink 8 pounds of water, you could pass through 8.25 pounds. So you can lose 1/4 pound a day just from drinking the water. Then when you're doing the calorie deprivation on top of that, all right, you get it. Well, over the course of a week, you got an extra 2.5 pounds off. Over the course of a month, you got 10 pounds off just by drinking water, but it gets a little bit trickier. So you're doing, 30 days before, you're going to do a gallon a day. 1 week before, you're going to do 2 gallons a day. 3 days before, you're going to do 3 to 3.5 gallons. You must hit 3. Do as many if you can. If you could get 4 down, go ahead. I've never met anybody who has, but I personally have gotten 3.5 down before. You will wake up so incredibly light. So just by example, when I was cutting to 185 pounds, on the last day that I did the water load, so the 3 to 3.5 gallons, last thing I did before bed is weigh myself. I was 212 pounds, but I woke up at 199 pounds. Now, of course, I was getting up in the middle of the night non-stop and running to the bathroom. That's kind of the point of this whole thing. What I'm sharing with you is when Perry says he's 25 pounds over, there is a couple of questions you would want to ask. Was that at night? Was that in the morning? Was that pre-workout? Was that post-workout? Are you doing the water load? Because if you're not water loading, your body is not full of water, ready to give it up, and you got 25 pounds to go, and you either got 9 or 10 days until the weigh-ins, you got big problems on your hands. I mean, you got some big problems on your hands. Tell you guys a weight cutting story. I was in Fargo, North Dakota, Junior Nationals. I was a junior. My friend and teammate Ryan Henry was a senior. Now, the Junior Nationals, you had to submit your registration ahead of time, which meant you can't get to the scale and then just go, I didn't make weight, put me in the next bracket up. You can do that at a lot of wrestling tournaments. Not the big ones. It's ahead of time. Pre-bracketed, pre-drawn, pre-seeded, fly in, make the weight that you said you were going to make. So Ryan gets to the scale. You have exactly 30 minutes to make weight. Scales open at 3. They put a big clock right in the room. At 3:30, scales close. So you can miss weight as many times as you want and keep on weighing as many times as you want. But when 3:30 hits, you are done. So Ryan misses weight, but he's only like 0.2 of a pound over. His father doesn't know what to do. They've flown in. It's the national championship. So his father pulls out a buck knife and just starts sawing off his hair. Like a haircut, but he doesn't, all he has is he's literally just sawing his hair off. Ryan gets on the scale, misses weight by 0.1 of a pound, and had to walk around the Junior Nationals the rest of the week with that hairdo. I'll tell you another great one, and I'd never seen that. I don't even know if I would believe this if I hadn't seen it with my own eyes. Cody McKenzie. Cody McKenzie gets to a weigh-in, and we were in Oklahoma. And he doesn't make weight, and he's got like an hour or he's got 2 hours to make it. Cody McKenzie leaves via taxi, returns, but he's gotten the cotton swab on his vein with the tape over it. So when he returns to the scale and the commission goes, why do you have a cotton swab on your arm? Cody answered the question honestly, which is I just ran to the clinic and gave blood. His way to make weight, I think he had a pound to go, is he went and gave a pint of blood, which did allow him to make the weight. They put him on the scale and they all huddled up and talked and booted him from the event, and he was sideways. He was pissed. I'm only bringing that to you because there's a lot of ways to make weight. Cutting your hair and giving blood, I would suggest that you do not do. Water loading, taking things the right way, but that scale can also be deceptive. So my question is real simple for Mike Perry. Why are you 25 pounds over? Did you either not prepare for this fight or you were partway through the gallon of water, had several pounds in you, and the scale was a little bit deceptive?